This is It's Not in the Syllabus podcast, the how-tos of a student beyond classroom walls. This is the podcast where you, yes you, get to learn what they don't teach you at school and ace that test called life, or at least get a passing grade and get by. It's Not in the Syllabus is a podcast brought to you by the Adventist International Institute of Advanced Studies, together with the Student Association, where we feature stories by the students and for the students. Join us as we discover life lessons you'll surely need. Hi everyone, welcome to the 13th episode of It's Not in the Syllabus podcast. And because it's already the month of February, we will now start talking about everyone's favorite topic, which is about love and relationships. And our guest today is a couple, and it's no other than Andy and Beersheba. Hello!
Hey!
Yeah, thank you so much for accepting the invitation. We're so glad that you could make it. And if you allow me, I'll just introduce you for a bit. Okay, so both Andy and Beersheba are from India. They are both taking their PhDs. Andy is taking a PhD in systematic theology, and Beersheba is currently taking PhD in intercultural studies and world mission. So they are both in the seminary, and actually they also took their masters here in IS before.
Yes.
And by the time that we were planning to invite them, they were still just two. Now they're three.
Yeah.
So they have a little one, baby Judah. He is 3 months, right? Yeah. Okay, so we're really glad that you're here. And what we will actually talk about is about finding the one. So how you both found each other. It's just your story, basically. So how did actually that start? Because it didn't start in IS. It started way before, right?
Yes, it did.
So maybe ladies first.
Okay, well, we did meet each other in bachelor's in college back in Spicer, where we both were the same year, and we both were freshmen, and that's when we met each other.
As friends, right?
Yes,
but
as
in a
friends.
relationship, what year did you become together?
Oh, well, I think a couple of months after that.
Oh, okay. So you've been dating before you were married? How many years have you both been dating?
We dated
7
years.
7 years,
years,
yes.
wow. God's number. 7. I see. Wow, that's pretty cool. Okay. And before that, like how was did you have any previous relationship? I think I'll have to start with Andy. I think he has a long list.
Well, I don't know. Let's see. Well, in high school I did date a few people. You know how high school love is. You know, you're attracted to a person in the choir or in your classroom. And yes, I did have, but it was short-lived because of the age, because we were still young and we were moving from place to place. But I did like a few people who were in my class, and that was...
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had an idea of what was not the one and the one, of course.
Yes, it did. Yes.
How about you, Beersheba?
Well, I didn't date much in high school because I moved a lot. Our family moved a lot. And during my senior high, the 2 years I spent in 2 different schools. So there was no chance to date. I mean, it was too short a period. But I did briefly have one relationship between senior high and college. And that didn't last because it was a long distance relationship. Yeah.
Okay. Ooh, okay. Yeah, we will also unpack that in another episode. But yeah, so when you guys started dating at freshman, I mean, that was, how old were you guys back then?
We were 19.
19, yeah.
Yes, we were 19.
Yeah. I mean, maybe to some that's still a bit young. Maybe to some that's already old. But how or when did you actually know that, oh yeah, Andy's the one and Beersheba's the one?
So we met quite young, like we did mention. It was our first year of college, and it was, I think, maybe I can tell the first time I did see her was in Vesper service.
Okay.
You know, in church.
Oh, on stage.
On stage. You know, they're having a choir song together, and all the girls from the hostel were there, you know, taking part. And that's when the first time I did see her. But that's not the first time I actually met her
Oh,
or
okay.
spoke to it it was maybe a couple of months after that where I can remember it was at the Master Guide camp.
Yeah.
It was at a hike where
were
we
hiking,
actually
yeah.
we met and we talked for the first time, but we did see each other
A
in
couple of
campus,
times, yeah.
yes,
Before
but
that.
never a formal introduction of that sort. Yes.
But you already noticed her before.
Oh
Yeah.
yes, yes. Hard
okay.
to miss that.
I remember seeing him for the first time in front of the girls' hostel, not to meet me, another girl.
Okay.
So you can imagine, yeah. So that's our first memories of each
Okay.
other.
Well, speaking about the first time you've met, what was your first impression like with each other? Yeah.
I remember we were hiking up the hill and we were just having this conversation. And one thing that popped out is that a common friend had already mentioned him. So when I asked him what's his name, he said Andy. And I was like, are you that Andy? And then, so we had a common friend who kind of talked about,
Each other.
yes. So that was something that kind of popped out.
Okay.
From
So
that first
good
experience.
first impression. How about you?
Yeah, it was the same thing. I was a bit surprised because when we were talking, I was just asking like which course you're studying and where you're from. And then I told my name and then she was baffled. And she looked at me like, my name is, I don't know, maybe on the wanted list.
Whoops.
And then I said, why are you surprised? And then she did say, oh, I was mentioned by a friend about you. Maybe you might be that person. And then when we figured out it was the same person. So that was the first time we met and it was a good conversation. We were hiking, we went up the hill, Pathfinder camp, and when we look back, Pathfinder did play an important role.
Wow. Okay. Emphasis on that, guys. Join Pathfinder camps.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So along that, 7 years is a long time. So, okay, maybe college is still, you were, getting to know each other. But how long was the period, okay, from the time that you hiked and you got to know you were, quote unquote, officially friends? How long was that period until you both were officially together?
I think
Maybe around 5 to 6 months. We were
Okay.
friends. Yes.
Okay. And then the rest, was history.
Yes.
So in that 7 years, like, how did it go? What were your highs and lows? Did you actually, I don't know, broke up in between, or how was that journey for you?
Well, 7 years is a long time to be together. And quoting. We had our happy moments, difficult moments as well, like any relationship. Yes,
and then we had to spend time apart because of the summer vacation or something. But during our college, it gave us a lot of time together because we were in choir together. We went on mission trips together, and so I think we discovered more about each other. So some of those activities actually brought us together.
That's a great date ideas, guys. Date in choirs, in mission trips. Definitely when you're like, focused on serving the Lord and you're surrounded with like-minded people, then it helps you, discover who that person really is.
True.
Yeah. Sometimes it might seem funny, to be friendly for a long time, but if I did miss that opportunity then, we would not be together.
Wait. What do you mean? Like missed hiking, or wait, which one? Which part?
Maybe that, or maybe getting to know her or stuff. If maybe I felt it's too early and maybe none of us made the first move as to sharing our feelings, we do not know where we would be, but everything played out. It was in God's plan, and I think it's wisdom as well. When some people find love early, while some are later on, and it depends maybe from person to person. Yes, and we are actually privileged that we got to know each other as friends first, and then it came early, yes, but then we moved towards being together, and here we are now with a little one.
Okay, so you went on through that journey of, I guess, relationship maturity together, right? Yeah, because like in college, I think your goal was really just to get to know each other, right?
Yes, true.
No marriage, nothing.
No, that was not on the table.
Yeah, but towards the end, that's when you start considering those things, right?
Yes.
So, was there since you mentioned actually, who did the first move? Just curious.
I wouldn't, so that's it.
Okay, what's that? Sorry.
I mean, I was waiting for him to.
Oh, okay. So you were already feeling it, but of course, guys have to make the first.
Yes.
What took you so long, Andy?
I don't know if I took long or not, but I was trying to get her cues. You know,
you're trying to gauge if
yes,
she will
because you know it's a tricky thing. You know, if you go forward and you don't want to be embarrassed. So I was, to be honest, I was wanting to know if she really likes me or not, and it took me some time. So I learned one thing. You know. Girls or ladies, they speak in codes.
You have decoded Bershi's code.
She never told me up front, you know, like I like you or stuff. But then she did tell me in different ways. Like, I want to spend more time with you, or oh, where are you in the campus? Can we meet, or can we go to the canteen, or you know. And then we had to put these things together, and then I was like, oh, she might, and
Mustered
then
up the courage finally.
Yes. And then yes, we did share our feelings eventually, that you know we like each other.
Oh, okay, that's nice. Yeah, and thank the Lord that it's the same, you know, for the both of you. Okay, so throughout that process, what were actually the factors that you considered when you were, you know, looking for the one, or like how did you know that? I mean, perhaps you have a couple of lists. Even if some of us deny that we do have a list, we actually do. Yeah, so can each of you like share that? Yeah, maybe Bershi can go first.
So, well, there's not a certain point in time or like one instance, but there were many instances throughout our journey that we questioned, is this the right person? Am I in this for the long run, or what's this? So we've questioned, I think, that over a period of time. So it's just not one instance or one factor. But when I got to know Andy, well, we were always involved in church, and both of us were classmates from bachelor's. So we studied Greek and Hebrew together.
Oh, yeah, because you're both taking theology.
Yes, and all of those things, like the passion to be in the church to serve God, the same relationship, kind of was something that I was looking for, and. Yeah, one instance that I remember very clearly was when I was actually trying to set up like a test.
Okay.
You want to know, right? For sure, you want to sign.
Yes.
And so the test was set so that no one would pass it.
Oh.
So I was going to ask him a very tricky question, which I was sure he wouldn't know.
Is this some kind of riddle? What is this? I'm so curious now.
So we finished class, and then we went to the canteen.
But you were together already, right?
Yeah,
yes, just together. Maybe few months,
yes.
2 months maybe.
Into our
We were together, so we went to the canteen to eat, and she had 2 of her friends with her, and then I was along with them, and she posed a very difficult question to me. She asked me a question saying, I have 2 middle names. You have to guess those middle names.
And now my 2 middle names are not on any official transcript. And it's just like something my parents did, but it's not official. So, and the friends who came with us also didn't know. So there was no way for him to get help from any side. Yeah. So that was the question I asked him. Okay, just guess my 2 middle names, and I gave him the beginning letters.
Okay.
Yeah, that was part of the bargain. I said, this is too difficult. You have to give me a clue.
So you really had no idea.
So I had no idea. So I had to guess the first middle name of hers, and she said it started with the letter L. So there's so many names. So the first name that popped into my head was my grandmother. That's from my mom's side. Her name is Lamorna. So I told that to her.
And when I heard that, I was baffled, because out of all the names, he could have thought it an Indian name or something. And he came up with this name, Lamorna. And it is my name.
Oh,
so
that's
I was
crazy.
I was like, how did he even think of it? And that was the first name that came. He didn't like guess 10 times and then end up with this. It was the first name that came on his lips, and I was like, how did that happen? And actually, after we talked and found out, I was actually named after his grandmom, who was a missionary to India. So the connection was like totally.
So when did you get to confirm that? I mean, like afterwards, or?
Yes, my parents had told me that they had named me after.
And then she did confirm with her
missionary.
parents, and then it happened to be my grandmother.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that was just the first name.
Oh yeah, that's
So
true.
I had to go to the second name, and she was sure I won't get it. So I thought to myself, if the first name was my grandmother from mom's side, let's try my dad's side. And
Oh. Okay.
this is too good to be true.
I
And
know,
I'm just telling
like
you.
I'm starting to doubt. No, I'm kidding. Continue.
So my dad's mother's name is Sarojini.
Yeah.
So I said that.
And that happens to be my grandmother's name too. So I was named after my from my dad's side, and he guessed both of it. And I was
Whoa.
like, "Oh no, I just want to have one over him and just like pull his leg the rest of my life, kind of thing." But then he aced it. He was not supposed to pass it.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's super
So-
cool. I mean, who would have thought, right?
You know, I went home, got some brownie points to the relationship.
I know, right? Yeah, that probably, 7 years, easy.
Easy. But that was, since you asked, whenever I ask her, so why did you,
Ask that.
not ask the question, but when was the time that you knew that I was the one?
Oh,
She takes us back to that moment.
Yeah.
Although
That's one of the main
one of the
things.
moments
But-
initially, initially as a young teenager, I mean, we were 19, we want to know.
We're just looking for signs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little silliness in us.
Yeah, and it worked out, and then we just look back and we're like, that is something that doesn't happen every day.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
then I could see that God kept giving us different signs and showing us, and I think that's the beauty of love. If we are waiting for a sign at the beginning or waiting for that big moment, sometimes it doesn't come. For us, it came unknowingly because we didn't plan for it.
Yeah.
But God does speak and He does show, and having to answer the question, maybe that would be one of the many moments that put together, and we could say, yes, I think she's the one, or he's the one who we want to spend our life with.
Yeah. So little by little, you've been receiving like providences and confirmations from
Yes.
God that,
Right.
this is the person I want to spend, the rest of my life with. So, based on that, did you actually have like you mentioned that someone missionary minded and someone who would support you in your life path. But like, did you actually have like a non-negotiable and negotiable kind of list? Did that exist for you?
So yes, we wanted the main things to be there first in the jar. The little things were, So one of the main things was, yes, our relationship with God, and how we treated others, how we, loved our parents, our friends, and also this passion to serve. I think to be adventurous, because once we choose serving God, it takes us anywhere and everywhere. It sometimes doesn't come off as being stable, but also somebody that would support us in the journey. I think that was very important, at least for me, because I was, my calling and to be in the
Ministry. Yeah.
It was important for me.
Yeah. Any additional to that? I mean, I'm sure it's the same.
Yeah, more or less. If we call it a checklist, I mean, we all do have a checklist, in the our subconscious.
A mental checklist.
Yes,
Yeah.
like we want to tick, although we don't accept it. But my question is, how long will the list go? If we are looking forward to spend the rest of our life with a person and we have a checklist, it keeps growing even after marriage, because you
Yeah.
expect that from that person. And but like how you said, there are negotiables and non-negotiables, and if the important things are there, one thing is having a friend in your partner. And the beauty of a relationship is we are friends first before we could officially court together and move towards being partners. We were friends, and we grew through
Together.
and it takes us back to that time, and which is important because yes, after you get married, other responsibilities do come up. There is the romance, there's a honeymoon, and there's many things. But after everything is over, once the music fades, you need to have a friend there who you
Who
can
share
just
your
share,
passions.
yes, and not feel awkward or
Yeah,
embarrassed.
you can feel vulnerable, intimate, and you don't mind being crazy with the person, or just be yourself. with the person.
Yeah.
And I think, that's important.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because, okay, for our audiences, let's say here in IS, most of the students here are already under postgraduate studies. I mean, some are still single at like PhD level. Probably did not even date anyone yet in their previous years. So you both are very blessed to have met each other in college, and that's also, I think, most of the parents would say college is the time for you to meet someone, but those who have already passed that stage, how do you think, I think especially when they reach a certain age, when they've passed the marrying age, quote unquote, the speed of like getting to know is quite fast, right? They get to know each other in a few months, and then they get engaged and then they get married. That's if they find someone. But if they don't, what do you think? How do you think they can, quote unquote, find the one at this stage of their lives?
So, I mean, how do they find the one? It all depends on individual journeys, but then. Something that they need to look for is that this confirmation from God. I mean, if you have a good relationship with God, you know yourself, you know your goals, your purpose, then you want to find someone who would also sink in, especially since we are Adventists of the same beliefs. Sometimes you can be Adventist but not have the same beliefs.
That's
and
true.
that can be scary. So make sure that those things are in place.
Any addition to that?
Yeah, since you mentioned about faith in God, it's really important because, to be honest, to live with the person rest of your life is not easy because you're going to share your space, your time, your emotions, and you're going to see this person the rest of your life in the front room, in the bedroom, in the kitchen, which takes a lot of commitment. And you want to get those important elements of a relationship made easy already. Like if you're from the same faith, it makes it easier. If you are from the same culture, it makes it even easier, although we're open to having intercultural marriages, and which is also healthy. But it depends from person to person how it is. And if you know yourself and what you're looking for, I think it makes it much easier. Sometimes it's like we're going shopping, we don't know what we're looking for. We're going to buy something, and you're saying, I'll just shop till I find the right thing or the right item in the shop. And sometimes we apply to dating, we don't know what we're looking for in a partner, and we just scrolling around stuff, and marriage is never in the picture. Maybe one thing is, if marriage is not your goal, then we should not date. If not, dating becomes a hobby. Like if you met someone, yes, initially it's not your goal. When you meet someone, you still get to know them, but eventually your goal should be, I'm with this person because I want to marry them. And if that's not on the table, then it's better just remain friends, because it'll save a lot of hurt, save a lot of time, and relationships can be at times difficult if not synced with both people.
Yeah, that's a very great reminder. Actually, I've been recently reading, it's a book by Nancy Van Pelt, and it's called, I think We've Just Begun. So it's a book about courtship. And guess what was the first chapter? It's very aligned to what you both said, which is about knowing oneself. But she coined it as making friends with yourself, because it's very important, to know who you are and to have confidence and worth that comes from God. So setting that foundation, I think, is very important, and then you can now shove and see which one would suit your fans. Okay, you know what, I can stay here on and ask you guys questions, but unfortunately we would have to end. But if there's anything that you would like to leave out to our audience, maybe one thing from each of you can share.
You can go first.
Okay. Find someone who would share this journey with you. This life is short on this earth, and somebody who would make you laugh and who would share with you your secrets, and who you could share what you've learned, join in that intellectual journey too, just not emotional, which both is very important. So find someone who would share all of this with you, and I'm sure God will bless that relationship.
Well, for those of you who are looking for the person who you want to spend your life with, just remember that a relationship is a garden, and a garden is a place where you tread softly. You don't run in the garden because there are fruit trees growing. And if you find a person who can be gentle enough to love you, but strong enough to protect you, and who can walk with you in the garden, who respects you, respects your space, and if you can grow together, I feel that's a winning quality in any relationship. They're able to grow together and also grow in Jesus.
Amen. Wow, that's really beautiful. Garden of Eden, by the way. Yeah, thank you so much, Andy and Bershi, for being here. And we hope and we pray for those who have listened that you were inspired and perhaps would start praying for the one in case you are in that stage of your life. So thank you so much. And there's a lot that we have in store for the coming weeks. Our next episode will be dedicated for our married couples. So it's keeping the fire in marriage alive.
Amen.
Yeah. So we hope to see you on the next episode. And thank you so much for tuning in. Bye.
Bye. See you.